All right, we are live, and I've got a friend of mine on, Coach Christopher Cumby, and we're going to be talking about what are the high net worth, multi-figure, nine-figure entrepreneurs. What are they doing in this environment? What are they doing in branding, and what are they teaching some of their mentees and clients about? And so, Chris, if you would you share a little bit about Level Up and some of the things you've been up to the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good to see you, Joel. Always a pleasure, my friend. We connect quite a bit, and when you told me you wanted to do something like this, I of course wanted to help support you. And what are people doing? I mean, listen, we just come off a really crazy year. I think the last 4 years maybe, but we're going into a new era in my mind. 2025. What are people doing? I think this is separation season right now. So if anybody's sitting back not doing much, then you're behind, because the people that are actually getting ready for 2025 are way ahead, and looking at this time period as a time to really set themselves up to win. And so what are we up to? We're helping. Well, Jeff Hoffman had asked me to put some really cool people together. Of course, he's a great friend of mine, and for those that don't know him, he was the former CEO and founder of Priceline. Now turned kind of philanthropist and humanitarian in a lot of ways, but also loves the passion to help entrepreneurs. So come this kind of I think February-ish, Jeff's coming in to help people with a few things, and I think what the biggest thing to focus on is really the baseline. What's your brand look like? What are people saying about your brand? Who do you represent as a personal brand as well? That's what I see a lot of shifts in. These owners of nine-figure companies, people don't know them, and so I'm seeing a lot of shift now into personal branding for a lot of these CEOs and a lot of high net worth people, so that they understand who's behind some of these companies, so that again they can get that feeling of a culture. Where's this come from? um what else? Let me just kind of go through a few notes here that I took for this interview. But finding out what's working in marketing, and we've got a lot of new ideas coming. AI is going to play a huge role. We're seeing that already. For those that aren't out there, at least looking into AI and what that means for your company, you should start. And there's lots of different people, and if people need a good contact in that arena, I know several. So by all means, if you're seeing this video, reach out to me on social, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. So I think, Joel, what people are doing right now is they're anticipating, and I think that the sentiment is that we're going to see some really good stuff happen. And I also believe that you've got to be doing that stuff right now. Like this is the time. And if you haven't, like I said, you're behind. I'm not sure why I'm not hearing you. Are you on mute? It was perfect, Joel. Something happened. I haven't changed much on mine. We lost ya. I see a little note here. Hey guys, BuzzTune. How you doing, BuzzTune? I'll be the commentary for now while Joel's figuring out why his sound is off. But I'm not even sure if mine's on, if you guys can hear me. Maybe it's just a bunch of lips going, but um, that's funny. Technical difficulties. That's what people are working on for 2025. Making sure. Nope. Sorry, my friend. Says that my sound is fine on my side. I've got good connection. You were perfect for a moment. I can't hear both of you now. So maybe something slipped on our. Do you want us to restart? Do you want us to restart?
What about now?
Oh yeah, here we are. We're back.
All right.
That was the weirdest.
Yeah. Anyway, you mentioned something about CEOs getting out there and focusing on building their brand. Why do you think that CEOs and business owners have not done that in the past?
Well, if I was to speculate, I think people just, spend a lot of time in the business and maybe not on the business. And that's kind of an on the business thing that it's secondary sometimes, but I think it's one of the most important things, because when you can connect the dots with people that are driving the business, and they can, really articulate the culture that they bring, and, what they do and what they believe in. And I truly believe that's how people connect with each other, is understanding who they are. If they, like them, trust them, do business with them. I think it's so important. And if you're not doing it, you're missing out. Because here's the thing as well. What if that CEO moves on to do something later, sells the company, moves into a different organization? You kind of lose a little bit of yourself through that process. And I think it's so important for people to know who you are. And if you're missing that, then, how in the world, do you end up showing up doing something else later? And listen, there's all kinds of evidence that lots of top CEOs, move into different situations and so forth. But there comes a time when someone later on in life, I always say, if you don't own your real estate on the internet, like your name, you're missing out. You're just missing out. And I ask lots of different people that question: do you own yourname.com?
Mm-hmm.
It's like real estate. It's like owning a home, and as the world moves on, can you imagine you can't own your own name? That's what I think about. So I always purchase, a $10.com, and then always have something up there that represents yourself. And listen, you don't have to market, you don't have to do all kinds of things. But if I'm looking up anybody, the first thing I do is go to Google. If they have their own website and I can learn a little bit more about their personal, it just seals the deal for me. But when I can't find it and I have to do more research and I don't know who they are in the company, what they're doing, it's confusing, and then I move on. So I just think it helps support, their brand, their company, who they are. And it takes no time to do it.
So you had introduced, can you hear me first off? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
We're back
You had
on.
introduced me to a friend of yours, Peter Huang, talking about,
Yes.
A CEO, building a company and then exiting, and then what? And watching some of his content on some interviews, he talked about, kind of, okay, now what do I do next? Kind of feeling emptiness and having some, loss of where to go. And,
well, because he lost all his assets. Think about it. If you lose your assets, then you feel lost. But if you have an asset such as yourself and you're demonstrating that you have you still then have a vision, you know what I mean? You can work off that as a foundation. And just so many people get stuck in that, and then they're trying to scramble later to try and create something. And in my mind, it's so easy to start off and just stack it. It's like Legos, you're here doing this thing, and then you sell your business, and then you're doing this thing. It's just a great way to demonstrate really quickly for people that, bump into you, see you somewhere, and they can go to your website real quick and learn a lot about you. It's just been my strategy for a very long time, building businesses myself. And I've always been able to then, roll that into the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, seamlessly. So
I want to give a quick shout out. So a couple people that are friends of mine. Stay Winning Pod. He's in sales, but
Awesome.
building his platform on X and also YouTube, he's monetized on both, and he's known as the smoothest voice in crypto. So big shout out to him. BuzzTune, also a friend, his own YouTube channel. He started from scratch a while back into real estate. So good to see you too.
Hey guys,
level up, right? Some of the things that you've been doing with events and helping entrepreneurs. We talked about a CEO, not wanting to put themselves out there, and now they're seeing other people do it and seeing the benefits of it. And yes, your brand translate into essentially opportunities to open up doors that can turn into potential revenue in the future, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you do it because it benefits the company, yourself, and to generate additional revenue.
Sure.
So what do you see as the biggest struggle for some of the entrepreneurs that you work with in Level Up?
Time. Mostly. I mean, people don't have a lot of time, but that's just a cop out as well. I mean, I look at Elon Musk as a great example. He's got a great personal brand. He's got several companies that he runs that have their own brands, but people know him of a guy that gets things done, says what he's going to do, or does what he says he's going to do, I should say. And so, and do you think he has any more time than anybody else? So that usually is one that I see a lot, is that I don't have time to do that. I think it comes down to how important it is. And if it creates an opportunity for people to feel like they've added some value to other people's lives by, truly giving, and, that's a selfless act, just to put yourself in a situation where you can demonstrate the things that you believe in. And then, there are people that want to know that and follow you, and you can help them. So I just think it's important for people to figure out that piece of the pie, because like I said, things can be sold, taken away, it can go down. And where are you left with if you don't have something that you can look at as your personal foundation, right? Regardless of what you created, regardless of what is possible. I just think that it's just a really good idea, and it works well because, like I said, you just leverage what it is that we have. And Google, everybody Googles. So if I can't find anything on someone, everybody Googles. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Especially today, if you're meeting someone new at an event or you want to learn more about them, you Google them. And or people end up looking at the LinkedIn, right? Because that's the first thing that pops up if you don't have a website.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and a lot of that type of stuff.
I want to clarify though, if LinkedIn is gone tomorrow, what do you have? It's like building a house on rented land if you don't have your own .com.
Yeah,
it's just the simplest way I can say it.
Is there an example, somebody that comes to mind where they've worked through, you've worked together through a series of plan and action and coaching, and they came out the other side, and maybe they were not doing or scared to do a certain type of action? They implemented some of these principles, put the work in, and then got to the other side. Like what types of things are moving the needle for helping some entrepreneurs, grow their businesses? What are the things that are getting the most type of leverage of time?
Well, I mean, the simplest way for me to put that is that, there's a physical, mental, and spiritual, thing to us all. And I often see that, people are either dialed into one or two, but highly doubting that, all three. And just see that a lot, and a lot of times it's the physical, believe it or not. It's like they've got it dialed in. They're pretty smart people. They're mentally, sound. They're building things. They may or not, may follow some sort of religion. That's fine, but they have some sort of spiritual connection. And then, they lack their body, their physical, and I did that too. You get busy, you don't take care of yourself, you allow all this stress to come in, and all of a sudden you're 20 pounds heavier. And, that happened to me. And, you get to a point where, for me anyway, it was time to make some major changes. And so I think those three elements are really important for anybody really. It doesn't matter if you're, building a company or not. But that's kind of the baseline, I think, that people need to focus on, because when you take care of yourself, it's funny how everything else starts to, kind of come around you, and you can't give what you don't have. So, for me, it's always focusing on, if I'm giving something, I gotta make sure I've got a lot of it. And that's why I dial in on these 3 areas, to make sure that I can share. And coaching people, is the mental side of things, right? It's keeping them accountable. Most people have good intentions, but they don't do the work. They don't have anybody keeping them accountable, and they don't have feedback. Why is coaching so important in everybody's life? Because it provides feedback that you don't get otherwise. And how can you go through life if you don't get the feedback that you need in order to be successful?
Being around you long enough, you talk about keeping, are you keeping score?
Yeah, keeping score. Most people don't. I bet you, we'll put it this way. I like using this analogy, Joel, and I probably used it with you. Would you watch a football game without the score?
No way.
Would you watch the game without a time frame?
Nope.
It's kind of like life. Why do people go through without a time frame, without a score? And so I think it's really important to make sure that you get those 2 dialed in, and you know exactly what the score is and the time frame. And when setting goals, it that's the whole point, to set a goal, is to have an end date, or some time when you can look at it and reflect and say, hey, did I make it or not? And the other side is that when you are literally keeping score in your life, you can see if you're winning or not. Like, how do you know if you're winning if you don't have some vision or baseline to start off with, and then some sort of vision of what the score is going to look like? And how are you going to play the game?
So I'll redirect this to you. Can you share an example of something that you do personally that's keeping score?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a scorecard. So every day I have a scorecard of what I'm able to accomplish. So I have frameworks. I work off of frameworks. And as of late, actually, I've been creating new frameworks because I'm working with more men. And I truly believe that a lot of men need some help right now. And that's why I'm putting my thanks. Listen, I'm not discounting women. Women are amazing. And I love working with them all. But what I found was that because of the things that I've actually created for myself lately, I can transfer that much easier in conversation, because it's more relevant to what I had to go through as a man. So the frameworks are really important, and those frameworks are what I keep score on. So every day I have a list of things that I want to accomplish. And by the way, I always get the heavy stuff done in the morning, the heaviest work, because that's the stuff that typically carries on it, daily, right? Like, I mean, it may take a few days, it might take a month. When you're working on heavy stuff, it's sometimes not immediate. And all the immediate stuff that I can get done is all left for the part of the day when I can just be mindless, go to the bank, go do some errands, go things. But I have a checklist, Joel. I have a checklist every morning when I get up. And that checklist, as simple as it is almost a to-do list, and just scratch it. There's nothing better at the end of the day, scratching a bunch of stuff off your list. There's just nothing more fulfilling knowing that, man, I had 10 things, 10 points. I crushed it. All of them.
Being around some of these top entrepreneurs, and let's just use Jeff as an example, talking about mind, body, and spirit. What are some of the things that these top entrepreneurs are doing to get themselves into this type of mentality every single day? What type of habits, what type of product, what are they doing every day?
Number one, they're personal development. I mean, they absolutely want to improve their lives, who they are, how they communicate, how they take care of others, their relationships, their finances, their body, and sometimes, unfortunately, the body gets excluded from being busy sometimes. And that's where I believe that, for people that want to really accomplish things in life, is just get up earlier. Just get up earlier. Go to bed earlier. You want all these things, but you won't sacrifice the really simple things that are actually good for you. Be in bed by 10. Get all the benefits of the growth hormones that happen between 10 and 2 a.m. I mean, most people just don't know enough about themselves of how they can improve their mind, body, and spirit. Get up in the morning and actually connect with yourself over a coffee, pray, meditate, whatever the thing is that you want to do. But I pray. I get up, I take care of business. First thing I have to do is use the washroom. That's a restroom, bathroom, washroom, whatever you want to call it. I'm Canadian, so we call it a washroom. But it's funny, right? But you go to the restroom, you get up, I pray immediately. Thank you for being here. Like, I woke up. The greatest opportunity ever is that I got up. So that's number one. And then I move into this process of just reading. I read, I scan, I do a few things. And Jeff taught me a couple of things as well. You mentioned Jeff. So Jeff actually does sponging. Every morning he sponges. He grabs different information all over the place and he just reads about it. It could be random. It doesn't even have to be relevant. He's just improving his knowledge. Right?
When you said sponge room, I was thinking washroom when you were talking about that. So I wasn't sure where you were going with that. All right.
So I sponge, and I look at information and I learn a little bit more and I get curious. I think we lost a lot of curiosity as we get older, and I try to stay really curious. My mind works in a very strange pattern way, and when I can see things, that's why in business development for me, I can see the peripheral. I can see the lines. I can see the dotted lines that most people don't, because they're just so stuck on and fixated on the one thing when there's multiple opportunities around us all the time. And I just have a keen mind to look for that. So, but that all comes from taking care of that, right? In the morning, getting up and doing things to take care of myself, because I can't give what I don't take, seriously for myself. So I like to give a lot of encouragement. I like to help people. I like to get things done. I like challenges. I'm in a challenge right now, working with the guys that I'm working with. It's a tough one, but I love the challenge because there's nothing better when you figure it out, right? But most people retreat, right? And so there are things that are going to tell you information along the way, and you just got to pay attention to that. Most people just actually don't, they quit. So you can't quit. You got to keep going. You got to pivot, right? Pivot's the great pivot. We're all going to be faced with challenges in our lives. I mean, Joel, we talk about that. We went through some coaching as well. And, I'm so proud of you, for one, because you just faced it. You didn't give up. You just faced it. You had to swallow, just keep moving ahead, and quite frankly, focus on what's most important to you. And I know your kids are really important to you. So, like me, when things happen, I just focus on what's most important. And this too shall pass. I just got to keep going forward and show up, because quite frankly, if we think about it, and we're getting into some of the philosophical side, and I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about business, but I think it's relevant. We get caught up in things and then we give up. And, for me, it's always, there's no give up in me. And I know that I've survived every single bad experience to date. What's to say, and in my case, Jesus is not going to be there for me again. He's always there with me. God's always laying out the path. And quite frankly, if I'm going through something, it's because of his will. So I just come up with, all right, I guess I just got to keep going. But the beauty is we have awesome people around us. And that's where a lot of people miss, is they don't have the surrounding environment that helps support their dreams and desires and the things that they really want to achieve. So your environment's important. The people you circle with. Joel, I'm so happy that I'm able to circle with you. You're a smart guy. You got a lot of people around you. But you're also surrounding yourself with other people as well that keep you going. And it's so important. And quite frankly, I go to a men's group. I got awesome dudes around me. So when something happens to me, it's happening to my army. So I'm never afraid.
Yeah. And the entrepreneurial journey can be very lonely. You think you may be by yourself. I know personally, like a lot of my friends that I've had for a very long time from high school, even college, 9 to 5, have family and kids, and that's just what they do. And building a business, trying to grow something, um, I just didn't have a lot of people that I knew personally in my circle. So finding your tribe, so to speak, finding people that are like-minded, especially going through that process earlier in the year was, you know, very, very impactful just to be able to find more people that are going down the same lane that you are and to be able to have those opportunities to share and connect and whatnot. It's out there. You just got to find the right group. You got to find them and don't stop
1000%.
till you get there.
1000%. And when you do, you'll know. They pour into you. Successful people want to pour into other people that are focused on success.
Mm-hmm.
It's the truth. And unfortunately, not a lot of people focus on their own success and their personal development along the way. And they allow life to just kind of crush them a little bit, And it's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate because it's so easy to just shift that mindset, even if things are really horrible. And there are so many examples of people that have been in those situations where it's just like there's no chance they're going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens. And then you're like, wow, what was that thing? Well, in my opinion, they never gave up. They kept showing up.
Mm-hmm.
They kept showing up. That's the key. Most people don't show up.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I talk about too, like with my podcast, is that I'm 2 years into it, over 100 episodes. I'm not where I want to be on it. And I just know that I have to keep putting it out there and keep putting content out there because if I don't, then I'm scared that I'll stop. And if I just by staying in the game, even if it's not perfect, by just putting it out there, I'm giving myself the chance to make it better in the future. Because if I stop, then it's done. If I don't stop, that opportunity is still there. And so, a lot of struggle, a lot of heartache trying to fit this stuff because, I got a job, trying to be able to make things happen. This is extra on the side, but I know that's for the long term and also to help people.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to finding the right tribe, but there's still people from our group that I still stay in touch with, and that stuff is valuable. So your event is January 31st and February 1st in Orlando. What if I'm talking? Because people every day, if I just knew, a billionaire, if I just knew a 9-figure entrepreneur, what could happen if I get in the room with that person? Well, this is an opportunity, right? So if I'm
Huge
a business owner and you have an opportunity to spend some time with Jeff and you and the group, what are some of the things that they can get out of that experience?
Well, I mean, you just said it. Being in the right room makes all the difference. It's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. And having information from someone like that you otherwise would never be able to experience, it's proximity effect. When you're around people and you're in that room, not only do you get the opportunity to be around someone who's done some really incredible things, but it's everybody else that's in the room as well. And just you said it yourself, you're still connected to people that were in a room with you that bring value to your life and you bring value to their life and you built a friendship. So think about it. Proximity effect is a powerful tool and it doesn't take a lot, for anybody that wants to come and, do that mastermind with Jeff. I mean, it's incredible. It's an explosive growth mastermind. It's the Billionaire Secrets. And I think it's incredible opportunity for anybody to get in the room, and you'd be surprised what happens, afterwards and who you get connected with. And you've got a brilliant idea and you're trying to raise capital, or you want to be connected to someone, else that, maybe the facilitator or someone else in the room, has. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity to connect with people. It really is. And I've been in multiple masterminds where I've never, put it this way, Joel, I've never gone to a mastermind or for one, an event, and never walked away with it without some value that came from that opportunity just because I showed up. Again, showing up and being in that place, or else if you're not, you'll never know. To your point, you'll never know how successful your show will be if you give up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's half the battle. You know, it's a game of outlasting the rest, because most are going to give up. They're not going to see results and they're going to stop.
You said it, brother. You know, that's been my philosophy for a long time in sales. You know, I sold, you know, over 700 million in my career. And the only reason, you know, and listen, that may sound amazing. And, you know, I'm not trying to pull any, you know, ego thing here. It's just what happened. But you just said it. I outlasted everyone. And in sales, you have to be that person who's having the conversation continuously with the prospect, or someone else is. And if they're saying no to you, they're probably saying no to other people. And for me, it's always trying to figure out the value that I can bring along the way. So it's not just, hey, Joel, have you thought about that? And, you know, are we ready to move forward? And I wanted to circle up, and, you know, it's that doesn't work. What I look for is providing value to you, Joel, so that I can actually share with you information along the way that's going to be top of mind for you. It may not even be relevant to the business deal we're trying to work on, but it's relevant to you, Joel. And when it's relevant to you, I get into a conversation. And if we're in a conversation, you're not talking to anybody else, you're talking to me. And I'm just patient. So yeah, you have to outlast people.
So what kind of setting, where is the location going to be in Orlando? What
That's still being determined from a point of view of like attendees. However, there will be opportunity for lots of fun. We'll be in a hotel, of course, in some sort of resort environment in Orlando. But there'll be activities that, you know, again, based on the number of people going, that we need to coordinate. So it might be, you know, an opportunity to play some golf. It might be some opportunity to, you know, go and actually see something you wouldn't be able to see normally just because of the connections. You know, be kind of behind the scenes BTS stuff if you want. Maybe a celebrity comes in. I mean, we have all kinds of things that we can tap into, because again, it's just providing a ton of value and an experience that no one's been able to actually, you know, have. You know, with a guy like, you know, Jeff, for example. I mean, he knows a lot of people. Just look him up, follow his page, and you'll see what the possibilities could be, and, you know, you can make a decision on that.
Yeah, because I mean, with his global entrepreneurship network, I'm blanking on the actual acronym, but he's going around the globe doing work.
205 countries. I think he's in India right now doing a big thing, and their annual event was in China. So yeah, they move around the globe. I think the next big one is going to be in the United States, which is kind of cool in 2025. But and I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that, but it's the Global Entrepreneurial Network. Yeah. And it's massive. It's 205 countries, all global leaders.
Wow. Before we get off here, I'll put links to your page. So if people want to find you, they can, you know, get to you. Is there any other, you know, way that if somebody has questions or wants to reach out to you directly, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Just again, probably that way. I mean, they can DM me if it's, you know, Facebook. They could put a message through on my website. That's fine too. That's probably the best way, because then, you know, I follow everything. I see everything. Just, you know, I keep my finger on the pulse, and no one will miss me if you want to go through any of the social media channels, for sure. I don't care which one it is, because I'm on top of everything.
Okay. So we'll drop links. Any last piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur out there listening?
Yeah. I'll try to keep it brief. Number one, just believe in yourself. You know, a lot of people stop believing in themselves, and that's where you got to start. You got to believe you can do it. You got to believe that something amazing is going to happen. And I always a big fan, Joel, and you've probably heard me say this a few times: walk as far as you can see, and you'll see a little further. You know, and that's just good advice. You know, just walk. Most people won't take the chance to even go down the road, right? They see an obstacle and they turn around. Don't turn around, just pivot. Just take a right or a left or whatever you got to do, but don't stop.
Well, you talk about the physiology part of it too, kind of in the sense of just keep moving. We all have doubts and fears and sometimes can get paralyzed by uncertainty or not knowing what to do in the moment. And it's like, okay, if you're in that space of maybe frozen or not sure, okay, change your physiology. Get up, move, just jumping jacks, go get coffee, go do something and just move.
For those that can do that, absolutely. And on some level, everybody can do something to change the physiology. So, but for that, and if we were to use that, get into your body, move your body. You're alive. You're alive. Do something. I've been an athlete my whole life, and one of the areas where I go for sanctuary is within. Take care of myself, mind, body, spirit. Sometimes the body, took a beating. I'll tell you, the last year I got fat. It sucked. But I lost 26 pounds in 75 days, and I turned it around. And I just think it's important to take care of your physiology. But yeah, moving, believing in yourself, moving, doing things, getting around other people. I mean, that's another way. 1000%. Get around amazing people and change it up. Listen, if you're not growing, you got to look close to who you're hanging out with. It's truth.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's going to be people that, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
So you live in Florida, right?
I
So
do.
if someone is coming down to Florida to visit maybe a short-term rental on the beach.
Yeah, let's
reach
go.
out to you in advance. And you're also part of helping some marketing with Destined Dreamers. So if someone
That's it, part of the team there, we're growing. We've got a great platform. Destined Dreamers is a luxury vacation property rental company, and we're down here in Destin, Florida, Miramar 30A area, which is on the Panhandle in Florida, but one of the most pristine areas. It's called the Emerald Coast, and of course, Joel, you know that because you have a home down here. But it's a beautiful area, and we're growing a platform. So if you are traveling and you're looking for something very unique and a lot of fun, go to destinedreamers.com. And that's DESTIN dreamers.com.
Cool. All right. Well, we're going to do this again very soon. January, February is going to be jam-packed with stuff going on.
For sure.
And that's all I got, man. No, I'm so happy you came on. We'll be doing this more. And
let's do it again. Love hanging out with you.
Love it.
That should say strive for 2025. Let's go.
It should. That's right.
I like it. Yeah. Hey, listen, here's the thing, Joel, and I believe this 1000% about you. You're going to be super, super successful on top of the success you've already created. And I do believe that's happening for you. And because I've seen you grow, my friend, and you're resilient. And anybody out there listening to this or bumps into it, follow Joel. He's got great, great stuff. He shares and he helps. And if you're buying a home, of course, and you need a mortgage, this guy's the place to come because he knows what he's doing and he's well connected. But this guy's awesome. So I appreciate you inviting me on, Joel. It's my pleasure, to be here and to share and to help. And I hope that anybody listening in got a little nugget or something. But believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Just that's number one. Just believe in yourself. Bet on yourself.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you for the kind words. And believe in yourself. I've had to put a process around that. Every day I put a process around that in a certain way. So don't be scared to do the boring things. If you have to look at a piece of paper to remind the things that you want to remind yourself of, program your subconscious to get to where you want to go. That's what I do. Anyway, Chris, we'll do it again. And maybe we'll get Jeff on live. Maybe we'll get Jeff on live.
Yeah, next week.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So if anybody hears this to this point, we're 39 minutes in. If anybody hears this and wants to propose a question for Chris or Jeff that we may be able to answer on air, DM me So if you're getting this far in this broadcast, DM me if you have a question for Chris or Jeff specifically, and we'll answer that question on air, and we'll single you out in a good way. So
on that note, Joel, next time we do this, we're going to say that up front. So they don't have to wait the whole time.
I know.
Just DM us, guys. I hope you made it all the way. Right. But if you didn't, and for those who did, it's going to be awesome, because that's what we're here for, to help out and connect you with good people. So
love it. All right, Chris, talk to you soon, and then I'll see you in a few months as well.
You are going to see me real soon.
That's right. All right.
Thanks, Joel.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Love you, brother.
You
Cheers.
too.